I just realized I decided to go live when I'm on the countryest of country roads, and I absolutely don't know if this is gonna give me signal, but we'll find out, won't we? Hey, what's up? What's up? I want to talk a little bit. Just one of the questions came up last night during our Q&A was really in regards to pricing, right? And so and how do we make our pricing work for us? Because and the other question that came up was why do we tend to spend so much money on marketing? Not that marketing is important, but what is the psychological reason behind spending so much money on marketing? And so we're going to talk a little bit about both. So and we'll talk about prices. So the first thing is, why do we spend so much money on marketing? And I mean, in general, like women in general spend a lot of money on marketing. Now, don't get me wrong, marketing is critical. And yes, you should be spending dollars on marketing. But what people are really trying to do, and the question really is, why do they spend so much marketing and generating leads and $0 on the skills to be able to actually sell those leads? Here's why. What people are really trying to do is they're not trying to actually know how to sell. They don't want to learn how to sell. What they really want to do is they want their marketing to turn them into glorified order takers. How can I just take an order? And what's crazy about this is that whether you just look at the top companies in the world, you just look at the top companies: Starbucks, uh, Apple, Amazon. I've worked with their sales teams. They market their ass off, but they also invest a lot in sales. And I mean, they invest a lot in sales because the biggest companies in the world recognize that no matter how badass my marketing is, if I don't have a sales team, I'm going to close less than 50% of my deals. 50% of my opportunities go to hell without a sales team. If you go to an Apple store, you see a whole bunch of people walking around with those blue shirts on, those Apple shirts on, or whatever color they're wearing that particular day, right? You see people walking around with those shirts on to sell you. They are actually in sales. They're not just customer service. If and in Starbucks, well known, they actually have to sell, right? And I don't just mean the people behind the desk. I'm talking about when they're going and doing more of their other corporate stuff. They have lots of behind the scenes stuff they do. A lot of people don't know that Starbucks makes all of their own equipment. And so they have a whole sales thing in regards to this equipment on the back end, right? And they're Starbucks. They're pretty big. Like, why would they need to even have a sales team? They could just say, we're using it, you should use it too, kind of a thing, right? Amazon. Amazon actually has a sales team for their especially, I know specifically for the Amazon Web Services. I know they have it for a lot of other things, but they have a sales team for that, for their Amazon Web Services. Who doesn't know Amazon? Whose other web services are you going to use? Right? Like, they pretty much have that market cornered. Microsoft has a sales team. These are all companies that market. They market like nobody's business, but they market to generate leads first. Sales is the gravy. Let me say it one more time. They market to get the leads first, and then they get sales after that. That's what they want. They're like, let me market to get the leads, and then any sales that happen to come in because we didn't have to talk to them is just gravy. Most people don't recognize that that's the gravy, and what they're really doing is they're trying to make marketing that leads to a sale without them having to intervene or getting on a call. They're trying to make that their primary, and that is very, very, very expensive. You spend a lot of money and a lot of time on marketing when you do that. You want to make sure you have that balanced out. Okay, so let's talk about pricing. Oh, that's stupid. Hello. Hi. My name is Donna St. Louis. I'm co-founder. This is just like when I'm on the bus with strangers, I just start talking to them. My name is Donna St. Louis. I'm co-founder of Fire Savvy, and we have an amazing sales crash course specifically built for women who want to increase enrollments. You're already doing the stuff. You're marketing, you're doing social media. If you're on social media, you're doing the things to drive leads. You're getting the referrals. The challenge is that, are you consistently closing the deals? Are you closing? I mean, especially from a referral, you should be around 80 to 90%. Are you consistently closing the deals that come in? Because what we find is that it's not happening, right? Those deals aren't being closed as consistently as they should be. And mainly it's because you don't have a framework that you can follow along that makes deal closing effortless. And we want it to be effortless. All right. So that's who I am. And if you want to know more about that, the Sales Superstar Academy actually starts tomorrow at 6:15. I know we have a few spots left. So it's tomorrow at 6:15. All you got to do is go to salessuperstar.net/academy, and you can sign up right there. And we do have financing. I don't know if a lot of people know that. We do have financing available. It'll cost you maybe like $150. The class is expensive place, but you can go and get financing, and the financing is really inexpensive. What's cool is that because we have a challenge that happens during the actual masterclass, we have a challenge that's within the academy. And because we have a challenge that's in the academy, during that challenge, you're actually going to be selling, which means you should be making the money to pay off other people's money. And anybody worth their salt in accounting would tell you, girl, go get the freaking loan. It's only $2,000. Get the loan, pay it off with what you're going to make, because now it only really costs you $170, 175 or 250, or whatever your credit will afford you. Anyway, so that's that. Let's talk about pricing, because pricing is a butt kicker. And by the way, if you have any questions, I have my chat up, and I can actually see your questions if you have questions. So let's talk about pricing. So pricing is something that really kicks people's butt. And the thing is when you don't good or confident about your pricing, you're gonna have a challenge. So let me rewind this a little bit. Women, and I'm specific women, we are really tough on ourselves when it comes down with money because of societal pressures, right? Of course, we're not seen as breadwinners, so asking for money is a problem. So when we start getting into the whole mindset shift in regards to your money, one thing that we do, and I did this with Chanel Evans a few years ago, she was talking about, her pricing, and she was really talking about, this was before we started working together as partners. I had coached her, she had coached me, we had bought each other's services several times, and we were passing each other business. So becoming partners just made sense. Anyway, when we looked at her pricing, because I need you to get, how much money do you want to make a year, right? Let's say, for argument's sake, she said 100,000. She didn't say 100,000, but I'm going to use 100,000. So if she said 100,000, I would have said, okay, that's $50 an hour, right? If she would have said $250,000, I'd have said, okay, that's $125 an hour. So whatever that dollar amount number is that you want to make per year, right? Let's say you go, I want to make $1 million. Then you divide the first, in that case, it would be the first 4 numbers by 2, and that'd be $500 an hour. Okay. So I said, so now we have a number. So let's assume that number for argument's sake for her is $500 an hour. So I said, I want you to go and take one of your offers, and I want you to break down every single solitary thing that you do in that offer, right? And I can't remember which offer she took, but she took this one particular offer, and she broke down everything that she did in that offer, right? And I said, okay, now, once you break down everything, literally list it all out. So now you have it listed out. Now, how many hours does each item take? Because you got to get good with your pricing. You got to get good with your numbers. You got to feel good with them. So this is literally how you do this. Take them all, break them down. So everything that you do, and then how many hours does each item take? And then multiply that number by your dollar amount, your hourly dollar amount. We don't trade hours for dollars, but I do want you to understand how we get good with your pricing. So Chanel, who by the way at the time was like, I don't know, I think my pricing's off. I might be charging too much. Da 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 da. I'm not sure if it's right pricing, wrong pricing. She went and did that activity and she raised her prices the next day. And she was suddenly really good with her pricing. She's like, oh my God. She raised her pricing the next day. The next day. So she went from being like, I'm not sure if I'm pricing right. I'm a little uncomfortable with the money conversation. Like I can talk about money, but I'm not like great because I don't know if my pricing's on point. She went and did that. All of a sudden, she could see the value in everything that she offered. Just like that. 24 hours, overnight. Overnight. The one way to get good with your pricing is to understand the value of what you offer. To really understand the value of what you offer. And so many times our pricing is PUFA. It is literally pulled out of ass, right? This helps you get beyond that. So then you could really start justifying in your mind, like, this is why I charge what I charge. So then when you get to the sales conversation, it's easier. It's one less hurdle that you got to get past, right? And this is so important because here's the thing. I understand what it means to like want to be out here as an entrepreneur and want to succeed as an entrepreneur, and then you run into these hurdles and you're like, shit, maybe this isn't for me. But at the same point, you are like, I cannot go work at that job. Like, that's just not your jam. Or maybe you're at that job and this is what your side hustle, but you're like, I need this side hustle to become my main hustle because I just can't do it anymore. Like, they putting these people in leadership positions and not giving them a damn bit of leadership skill. Or you're in there working with people who cannot make a decision. Or you're having too many meetings that could have been emails. Better yet, they could have been text messages, right? Or you dealing with that person over there that, you know what, you say, if she say one more time in that email, as I previously stated, you're gonna lose your shit, right? So I get it, right? And so now you're out here and you're deciding, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. And you thought that all you really had to do was take your expertise in a shingle and hang it out, and everybody was going to come running at you. And then when they did, you're like, oh, wait, there are more skills that I need. Yes, you need a really solid offer. And if you price your offer too low and you keep getting discounts, you're just chasing the bottom. You don't want to do that. That you don't want to do. So you want to make sure your pricing is on point. And then you want to make sure your offer is tight. What do you have in there in your offer that makes people go, oh, I definitely need that. How do I get that? Right? That's the other thing. People don't know how to put the carrots in their offer that make people go, I needed to buy that yesterday. Right? That is a critical thing that you need to be able to do. I'm gonna pop this up here because somebody just asked me about it. That's the URL for the sales crash course tomorrow. So we want to first make sure that you have a really tight offer, and we want to make sure that you have a mindset around selling that offer like nobody's business. So we are going to look at your offer and make sure you have a really good offer. Then from there, we're going to look at your audience. Like day one, we're going to say, hey, let's start showing you how to generate leads like right now. Like, you're going to show up Thursday night, Friday morning, you're going to go out and generate leads because you need to get people on the calendar so you can start selling to them, right? So we're going to say, how do you do that? So we're going to get you ramped up, start generating leads. Then once you generate leads, right, we're going to start getting them into your system so that you can get to the point of having a sales conversation. By the time we hit week 3, where the challenge portion starts, you are ready to have that sales conversation. So now you're in this 21-day competitive challenge to sell more. Think about how crazy that is. You're going to learn and earn. We are literally going to help you win a sales competition that benefits you. Like, think about that, right? But you got to get good with your numbers because I know what that feels like. I know what that feels like not to want to work for anybody at all. And it's so funny because, I remember, and it is different. And I know I have men listening, and when I coach guys differently than I coach women. I coach women definitely different. We have different challenges when we are selling. It's psychologically, it's a different challenge when we're selling. Women sell differently from men. Men sell differently from women. I've coached thousands and thousands of men and women. And when I coach women the exact same as I do men, they don't do as well. When I coach men the exact way I do women, they don't do as well. There are very innate differences. And sometimes there are men who are empathetic, who have a more nurturing side. I move them over into my women's side of for real. And then there are women who are so more aggressive and more assertive that I put them on my men's side. So I really do coach based on who you are, because that's going to help you like knock it out the park every single solitary day. So with that said, I want you to know that you're those two things offer. Does your offer have the need to have in there? And there are 4 elements. So you have the education, the experience, the essentials, the extras. Those 4 things you have to have in there. And all of those 4 things, y'all, stop selling the thing. Stop selling the thing. Stop. There's too much selling the thing. You got to sell the benefit, right? I get people that say, oh, you want a car? I got a car. You want a car with wheels? They got wheels. You want a car to drive? I got a car to drive. You want to be able to put gas in it? You put gas in it. Stop selling the thing. Start selling the benefit of the thing. Oh, you want a 4-door car? Well, you know what? These doors open all the way, making it easier for you to put in big packages. It has a lift gate, makes it easier for you to put things in the back, right? It has those lift gates, so you don't have to just down open, right? You got to make sure you're selling the when I'm talking to you, you're not selling the 4 doors. Trunk that opens, but you're not telling me why those 4 doors are important. You're not telling me why the trunk is important. You're wrong. You got to stop selling stop. So when we look at your offer, we want to make sure you're selling the benefit, not the experience. Okay, so you're going